Everybody. I want to thank you so much for having me today. As you earlier said, my name is Blessing Aholiman, John-Abhulimen, and I'm the author of Purple Lines Don't Meet. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to share my story and the heart behind this book. Writing has always been part of my life as long as I can remember, and as a child, I love reading novels, getting lost in stories. That early love pushed me to study theater art for my first degree when I learned how story shapes emotions, relationship, and the society at large. Later, this role has exposed me to real life human struggles, broken families, unspoken pain, identity crisis, and the long terms of effect of unresolved conflict. These experience depends influence my writing. Purple Lines Don't Mean was inspired by a true life situation and story, by what we are seeing more often also in the society today, especially around the DNA testing and family identity. I was interested in how words unspoken or words spoken in anger can create doubt, you know, doubt and even never fully disappear, how families struggle with love, pride, and the truth, they just collide. This book is not just about DNA, it is about family, it's about emotional wounds, power, silence, and love. And also, the book is to encourage one to take the further step to face uncomfortable truths. My hope is that these conversations today will not only explore the story, but also open up honest discussion and conversations about communication, emotional responsibility, and healing within the family structure. So, thank you once again for having me, and I'm very happy to be here. And I look forward to our conversations tonight. Today, rather.
Awesome.
Today, I'm just going to read the chapter 2 because it's more like what actually started the whole event.
Mhm.
It is where the whole issues from it start. So, I'm starting from chapter 2.
Okay.
Before it was time to, so that's the book, if you can. I don't know if anyone can say it before I start, okay?
Yeah.
Before it was time to finish from work, Tessie couldn't take it anymore. She needed to talk to her father. At least she was the one who was capable of holding a clear conversation in the thick of his anger. She picked her phone and paused into her handbag and left her office. She drove to Lekki. The drive was long, but the traffic gave Teffy time to rehearse her calm. By the time she pulled into the gate, compound of Uzo and Sons Rear, the sun was beginning its descent, casting golden across the glance of the building. Mr. Uzo's assistant greeted her with a wild smile and ushered her upstairs. Her father was already waiting, arms open, eyes bright. Tessie, you've finally come to see your old man at work. She smiled, letting him pull letting her be pulled into a brief hug. I needed a break from my own chaos. He waved at the assistant, bring us drinks and something light. Plantain chips, maybe pop. My daughter loves pop. They walked through the sleek office, past furniture, blueprints, and glossing renderings of luxury estates. He led her on the balcony wide, overlooking a half-completed high-rise across the street. This one, he said, pointing, is going to be my crown jewel. Mixed use, retail below, apartment above. We're calling it the Uzo Heights. Catchy, right? Tessie laughed. You've always had a flair for naming things. He handed her a glass of Chapman from the tray on his side table. And you've always had a flair for selling them. How's work? She leaned against the rail, sliding slow, busy. We are pitching a new campaign tomorrow. Big client, big expectation. He nodded, proud. You were always the sharp one, even as a child. You negotiate bedtime like it was a boardroom. They both laughed, the sun, light, and formula. For a moment, the weight of the morning lifted, but beneath the laughter, Tessie felt the quiet of questions, the one she hadn't yet asked, the one she wasn't sure she wanted answers to. They lingered on the balcony. The breeze softened against Tessie's skin. The city glowed with late afternoon light. Her father's voice had sorted into a rhythm. Update on the construction. At the back, stubborn climbs, a brief about the rushing cost of gravel. Then gently, Tessie shifted the tone. Dad, she said, what happened with Mom? Mr. Uzo smiled flickered. He looked at the skyline, jaw tightening. He started with something small. He said, I can't even remember what. Maybe the generator or the house head or one of those things. He paused, finger tapping his glass. But then she started shouting loud, aggressive, saying things that he stopped. Then no one should say to their husband. Tessie stayed quiet, letting him speak. She kept his gaze thrown into the roof of the building on the street. She called me names, said I was useless, that I was impotent. That's none of what you were mine. That none of you were mine. His voice cracked slightly, the words landing heavy. I knew Ronke. I know how she talks when she's angry. But this was different. She looked me in the eye and said it, and she meant it. She didn't mean it. He turned to Tessie, dark eyes. Do you know what that means to a man? To hear after everything? She didn't answer. She couldn't. I left, he said. I had to. I told her I want a DNA test for all the three of you. I need to know. The silence between them stretched, thick and unforgiving. Tessie stared at her dad, the man who had taught her how to negotiate, how to stand tall, and how to never let anyone see her break. And now, here he was, cracked open, humiliated, and gasping for sanctity. She wanted to speak, to settle, to challenge, but all she could do was listen. Mr. Uzo's voice has gone thick, tinier in his Chapman untouched. I have to do something drastic, he said, eyes fixed on the skyline. She needs to understand she can't keep doing this. Tester leaned forward. Daddy, please, just go home. You know how Mom talks. She says things she doesn't mean. He turned to her, eyes sharp. That's the problem, Tessie. She's been saying this for years, always in the heat of it, always when we want to cut deep. She's loud. She lashes out. You know that. She torments me, he said, voice low. She knows it's a sore point. She knows how much it hurts, and she uses it every time. Tessie swallowed, the whole word landing heavy. I need to do the test, he said. Not because I doubt you or your brothers, but because I need to take that weapon away from her once and for all. He looked at her, eyes tired and resolute. If the result comes back clean, she will never be able to say it again. She will lose that power. Tessie sat back, the breeze suddenly cooler against her skin. She understood his logic, but it doesn't make the ache any less. Tessie sat in silence as her father's words settled around her like dust. The breeze had shifted cooler now, less forgiving. Mr. Uzo sipped his drink, eyes distant, as if replaying every insult Ronke has ever. She nodded slowly, offering a quiet gesture of understanding, but inside, her thoughts were spiraling. What if the test says he's not my father? The question came uninvited, sharp, and disorienting. She tried to push it away, but it clung to her ribs like debt cloth. She had his mannerism, his stubborn stick, his love for clean lines and quiet space. But blood wasn't always proof, and memory wasn't always true. And even if the test clears everything, prove what she's always believed, will it fix the way he looked at her now? Will it erase the years of suspicions, the bruise left by words spoken in anger? She glanced at him, watching the way his jaw clenched, the way his finger tapped the glass. He was a man unraveling, trying to snitch himself back together with sanctity. But Tessie knew truth did always heal. Sometimes it just rearranged the damage. She stood slowly, her voice steady. I should get going. I have a dinner date. He nodded, distracted. Tell Chinedu I said hello. She smiled faintly, but her heart was heavy as she walked back to her car. The city light flooded into her life around her. She felt something rise inside her. Not a break, not now, but a quiet undoing. Tessie had just slid into the driver's seat when her phone buzzed. If you're not in a hurry, come. There's something I have been meaning to tell you. And this is my favorite part. She stared at the message. Her dinner with Chiedu flashed in her mind. His warm instance, the promise of normalcy, of laughter, of forgetting. But her father's word carried weight. Something I've been meaning to tell you. That's something I forgot, not something small. She sat still for a moment, then horned off Lekki traffic racing around her. Then she turned off the ignition, stepped out, and walked back into the building. Mr. Uzo was waiting in his office, standing by the window. Hands clapped behind his back. He turned when she entered. A flicker of surprise in his eyes quickly replaced by something heavier. You came back, he said. I had a few minutes, she replied, voice steady. He gestured to the chair across for his desk from his desk. Sit. This won't take long. She sat, heart heavy but alert. He didn't speak immediately, just looked at her, as if memorizing her face. There's something I've carried for years, he said finally. And I think it's time you know in light of this fight with your mother. Mr. Uzo sat down slowly, as if the weight of the past had finally caught up with him. I was married before Ronke. You already knew this, he said, voice low. 11 years, no children. We tried everything. Doctor prayed, even silence. Eventually, she left. Said she couldn't keep waiting. It was an otherwise happy marriage. But motherhood meant more to her than love. I don't blame her. Tessie didn't speak. She had known many details about his past marriage. I was diagnosed with low sperm count, not zero, just low, enough to make hope feel like punishment. He looked at her, eyes tired but clear. Then I met Ronke. She was my new secretary, sharp, confident. She introduced me to an herbal fertility expert. I didn't believe in it, but I was desperate. He paused, fingered laced together. This was the how I met your mom story. She wasn't sure she had she was ready to hear. It dawned on her either of them had ever offered to tell the twin or her how they met, and she never asked. Ronke has so much faith in this Baba, she would ask me nearly every morning I come to the office as if I had gone to see him. She felt bad for me after my wife left, and her concern sort of drew me close to her. Tessie nodded slowly. You know, we started spending time together outside office hours. Hence, I went through with the insisted I went through with the fertility herbalist. Shortly after, she got pregnant with you. We got married. I thought finally a miracle. Tessie breath caught. Then 9 years passed, nothing, no more children. At this point, she had started saying this outrageous thing about your paternity anytime we fight, giving rise to doubts. We tried IVF, it worked after the fifth try. The twins came, but the doubt never left. He leaned forward, voice tightening. That's why her words cut so deep. She knew what I have been through. She knows how fragile it all felt, and still she throws it at me, calls me impotent, saying you are not mine. Says the boys aren't either. He looked at her, eyes burning. I need to shut her up, not with shouting, with proof. So she never used that weapon again. Tessie didn't have much words to offer at this after this. She stood from the chair, said some incoherent words about how he needs to stay strong and left his office. Tessie grabbed the steering wheel as she pulled onto the expressway. Her father's words echoing in her head like a drumbeat. It edged. No goodbye, no test, and you skip dinner. I know, she said, rubbing her forehead. I'm sorry, I was too worked up. I needed to see my dad before he left the office. I didn't want to go to the house. Chiedu paused. How did he go? She has held worse than I expected. I thought maybe hearing his voice would help, but no. I don't even know if I want anything to do with their dysfunctional mess. Tess.
Um, hi, Blessing, you're right.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I just want to. It's not really, it's not really like a comment or question, just like a way of encouraging you. This is a very great one. But actually, it's a nice piece. I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mm.
I
Thank you
appreciate
very
that.
much for that
Thank you.
contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity of. I just saw it. Not that I'm glad I tuned in eventually. I'm glad I tuned in, and this is inspiring. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank
inspiring.
you.
I used to be someone that reads before, but somehow,
You should get back to reading with
yeah,
this particular book. You will love it.
Yes, you should.
yeah. I know. I definitely with the few minutes of that she used in reading the chapter two. She said, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I like it. I like it so much. And to cap it off, uh, you really wrote about what we all should be mindful of.
Yes.
How far words travel. And it's something we all should look into, not just have it as a read. I'm sure it's a good read for everyone, even with the few that she read out of all the chapters in it. But I think that is the point to take home from there, how we should be mindful of how we communicate to people. It goes a long way in shaping them
Yeah.
into doing greater things or just declining off their track. And bless your soul for doing this for us all.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
Thank you
much.
much. I
so much.
Thank
appreciate
you.
the comments. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much, everyone that showed up for this to listen to the author. And like she said, go and buy the book,
Yeah,
and
but
you would love every bit
you
of
will love
it.
it. You will.
All right, have a
Thank
nice day,
you.
everyone. Enjoy the rest of
Thank
your
you.
holidays.
Thank you so much. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.